Archangel Michael says, "This message is not by accident, and it is not meant to be brushed aside or delayed, for this moment has been divinely set apart in time, reaching you now with quiet urgency, gentle as a whisper but firm in truth." Archangel Michael commands you to open this. Don't skip. One choice decides blessing or disaster. Open immediately. These words are not meant to stir fear, but to awaken a holy awareness within you that something far greater is calling your name, not with thunder, but with love that never grows weary. This message carries the sound of heaven's heart beating for you, a reminder that your soul was never meant to walk alone, and that God, in His unshakable mercy, is near, right now, right here. There are moments in life when all the noise of the world, with its distractions and expectations, begins to feel heavier than your spirit can carry, and the silence you sit in becomes almost sacred because you are finally able to hear what God has been whispering all along. In this quiet moment, He is reminding you that you are His child, not by accident, not by merit, but by love that cannot be measured and grace that cannot be earned. No matter how lost or weary you may feel, you are not forgotten. Your heart, even in its broken places, is still the place where heaven longs to dwell. Type 999 if you trust Jesus with all your heart. Long before your eyes opened to this day, God saw it. He saw the battles that would wear you down, the prayers that would feel unanswered, and the tears that would fall in secret. But more than that, He saw the strength He placed within you, the hope He planted in your soul, and the miracle He is still writing over your life. And so, through this message, heaven is reaching for you, not to burden you, but to bring you back to the place where peace begins again, with Jesus Christ. Jesus, in His endless compassion, did not come into the world to judge you, but to carry what you could never carry alone. He did not step into this broken earth with condemnation, but with arms wide open, choosing you again and again, even in your weakness. His heart was not drawn to perfection, but to your need. And when He looked into the eyes of the hurting, the weary, the ashamed, He saw not failure, but beloved souls worth saving, worth dying for, worth raising to life again. He sees you this way still, precious beyond measure, loved beyond reason. There is no wound too deep for His healing, no failure too final for His forgiveness, and no night so dark that His light cannot find its way through. He is not waiting for you to be good enough, or strong enough, or ready enough. He is simply waiting for your yes, that soft, trembling yes that dares to believe maybe, just maybe, He really does love you exactly as you are. And the truth is, He does. He always has. What if the fastest path to wealth was already inside your mind, waiting to be activated by a powerful sound wave? Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it begins drawing opportunities, success, and financial freedom like never before. Imagine the relief of no more bills and the joy of living your dreams. This is more than an offer, it is a divine turning point. Your destiny is waiting, but only if you choose to move now. Click the link in the video description and comments below to turn on this ancient brain wave today. So many of us carry the weight of guilt like a cloak, believing that we are too far gone, that we've messed up one too many times, that maybe we are the exception to His mercy. But God is not in love with some future version of you. He is in love with you now, even in your weakness, even with your questions, even in the moments when you feel too broken to pray. His love is not a distant hope, it is a present reality, reaching for you in this very breath. Archangel Michael stands not only as a protector of heaven's will, but as a reminder that we are never alone in the spiritual battles we face. Though unseen, there are angels assigned to fight for you, to cover you when you feel defenseless, and to push back the darkness when your heart grows tired. There is power in your decision to say yes to God's love, yes to Jesus, yes to the hope that never fades. One choice, just one holy, surrendered choice, can change the entire course of your life. Not through magic, but through the miracle of a heart returning home. Type 666 if you believe in God's grace. You may feel like your life has been drifting, like joy is something that used to live in your chest but packed up and left. But Jesus is still knocking. Not to shame you or demand perfection, but to bring you back to the only place your soul will ever find rest, in Him. The door isn't locked. The invitation has never been taken back. And all it takes is that one step, that one whispered yes, to begin again. So today, let this be your moment. Not out of fear, but out of the tender knowing that you were made for more than what the world has offered. You were made for joy that doesn't fade, for peace that cannot be taken, for love that has no end. And all of it begins not with trying harder, but with trusting Jesus more. Open your heart. Open your hands. Let grace wash over everything you've tried to hide. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are deeply loved, right now. Let this be your turning point, not just away from the pain, but toward the light. Toward the one who never left you, even when you tried to walk away. Toward the God who still believes in the beauty of your story. Archangel Michael watches over you, but Jesus holds your heart. He is calling you by name. Not to scare you, not to pressure you, but to remind you that no matter where you've been, there is still more ahead, and it is good, because He is good. Archangel Michael says, "The words that found you yesterday were not a passing breeze, but a divine echo that continues to call your name today." This message still carries the quiet weight of eternity, whispering, one choice decides blessing or disaster. Not as a warning meant to bring fear, but as a reminder that the love of God never sleeps, never gives up, and never stops reaching for you, even when the world feels too heavy to bear. Heaven is leaning close now, gently placing a hand over your weary heart, ready to lift what you've been carrying alone for far too long. There are seasons in life when the pain we hide behind smiles grows too loud to ignore, and the ache inside feels like it has no place to go. But God does not walk past the quiet sorrow in your chest. He sees the way you've kept going, even with trembling steps. He knows the prayers you stopped praying because you thought they went unheard. And still, His love remains unchanged, stretching across every silent night, waiting for you to come back to the place where you are held, known, and safe in His arms. Stay until the end, for this message was chosen to remind you that you are not alone. You are not a mistake. You are not a burden. You are not the sum of the choices you regret. You are a child of God, and that truth is deeper than the lies this world has spoken over you. It is deeper than shame, stronger than fear, and more permanent than the labels you've carried like scars. You were chosen, not just once, but daily, constantly, tenderly, by the one who sees all of you and still says, "You are mine." Jesus did not come into this world to build walls between us and heaven. He came to tear them down with mercy. His footsteps were not loud, but they shook the very ground beneath sin and despair. He didn't arrive with crowns and armies. He came with healing in his hands and forgiveness in his eyes. And when he looked at the ones who had been cast aside, he didn't see problems, he saw sons and daughters who had forgotten who they were. This is how he sees you now. Not as someone broken beyond hope, but as someone ready to be found. Type 1919 to embrace healing. You are being called, not because of fear, but because of love too strong to let you fade. There is a softness to the way God speaks to your soul, but there is also power in it. The kind of power that raises dead things back to life. The kind that transforms darkness into morning. The kind that takes a shattered heart and turns it into a vessel overflowing with peace. The kind of power that waits for one decision, one moment, where you stop running and start returning. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian over what matters most: your soul, your destiny, your eternal place in the story of God's kingdom. There is an urgency not because you are doomed, but because heaven doesn't want you to miss one more day of the life Jesus died to give you. Right now, right here, the doors of grace are open. The light is still on. You are still wanted. And no matter what you've done or how far you've strayed, your name has never left his lips. What if 7 minutes could rewrite your financial future forever? This hidden frequency, backed by neuroscience, flips the brain's natural wealth switch, unleashing unstoppable prosperity. People are calling it the money magnet sound, and it's already transforming lives. But hesitation means missing out while others move ahead. This is your moment to act. Click the link in the video description and comments below to awaken the wealth inside you today before the chance slips away. There is a table being prepared in your honor, and it's not for those who have it all together, it's for the broken, the worn out, the doubting, and the desperate. It's for people like you and me who have seen darkness but still dare to believe that light is coming. Jesus isn't asking for you to clean yourself up first. He's just asking for a willing heart, a crack in the armor, a whisper that says, "I want to come home." And the moment you do, all of heaven rejoices, not because you became perfect, but because you chose love instead of fear. Let the past be what it was. Let the pain be something God can now heal. Let the voices that told you you're not enough fade into the distance, because the only voice that matters is calling you beloved. This is not about religion. This is about relationship, a heart-to-heart bond with a Savior who left heaven just to hold you. He has not changed his mind about you. His love has not grown tired. He still sees you as worth it, always worth it. So take the step, no matter how small it feels. Speak his name in your heart, even if your voice shakes. Let the walls fall down, not because you figured it all out, but because you trust that you don't have to anymore. That's what faith is. It's not certainty, it's surrender. It's not knowing every answer, it's knowing who holds you through the unknown. This moment is holy. It matters. You matter. Not later. Now. This is not a coincidence. This is love trying to find its way back into your life, and all you have to do is open the door. The battle you've been facing is not just physical, it is spiritual. But you are not alone in it. Angels are fighting for you. Jesus is standing beside you. And God, your Father, is already waiting with arms wide open. Archangel Michael says, what you are reading now is not another passing thought or something to set aside for later, because the Spirit of God is moving through these words with a purpose that goes beyond what your eyes can see. This is not a call to religion, but a gentle and holy invitation back to the heart of the Father who has loved you before time ever began. Heaven is not indifferent to your pain, and God is not far. He is closer than your own breath, standing beside you with the tenderness of a father who refuses to give up on his child. Type 222 if you know God is with you. Sometimes, life leads us down paths that wear us out from the inside, where no one sees how tired you've become and how loud the silence has grown in your soul. You show up every day, smile when needed, push through when it hurts, and somehow, you've convinced yourself that this is just how it has to be. But God never designed you to live that way, not half alive, not running on empty, not believing you have to earn His love through struggle. He created you to live in the fullness of His grace, in a relationship with His Son that restores your heart and fills your spirit with lasting peace. This message is reaching you now because God sees what others don't. He knows the questions you're too afraid to ask out loud, the nights you couldn't sleep because something deep in you ached for more, and the weight you carry around in silence. But there is nothing in you that scares Him away. He's not ashamed of your story. In fact, He wants to step into it, not to erase your past, but to redeem every part of it with love that doesn't falter and hope that never fades. Jesus was not just a good teacher or a kind man who lived long ago. He is the living expression of God's love, gentle, fierce, faithful, and forever. When He walked this earth, He didn't look for the ones who had it all together. He walked toward the broken, the shamed, the ignored. He touched the untouchable, forgave the unforgivable, and lifted the ones who had been cast aside. He wasn't afraid of pain, and He certainly isn't afraid of yours. That same Jesus is still alive today, still calling out to you, still waiting for you to let Him into the places you've tried to hide. Archangel Michael is not here to frighten or demand, but to remind you that this is not just another moment, it is sacred. It is a turning point. It's the kind of moment heaven leans into, hoping you'll hear what your soul already knows, that you were made for more than surviving, you were made to be free. And that freedom begins the moment you stop running from God and start resting in His arms. You do not need to pretend you're okay to come to Him. He is not moved by perfection. He is moved by honesty. Come to Him in the mess, with the doubts, with the shame, with the wounds. He isn't afraid of your questions, and He isn't shocked by your past. What He wants is your heart, raw, real, and open. Because only then can healing begin. Only then can your life be rebuilt on a foundation that doesn't crumble when storms come. That foundation is Jesus, and He is steady even when everything else falls apart. There is a battle for your soul, one that often feels invisible but is deeply real. You feel it when you try to move forward but keep getting pulled back by fear. You sense it when you want to believe God loves you, but that voice in your head keeps telling you you're not worth it. But the truth is, those lies cannot stand in the presence of God's love. And right now, through this message, His love is confronting every lie that has told you you're not enough. You are enough, not because of what you've done, but because of who Jesus is. His sacrifice wasn't meant for perfect people. It was meant for people just like you, people who fall short, who try and fail, who cry in secret, who long to be seen and held and known. Jesus didn't come to point out what's wrong with you. He came to remind you of what's right with you, your worth, your value, your soul's place in God's heart. Type 1515 to receive peace in your soul. You don't have to wait until you feel stronger. You don't have to wait until you feel more deserving. The invitation is now. Heaven is not asking for your performance, only your presence. One choice, just one surrendered yes to Jesus, can unlock a life filled with peace, healing, and purpose. And you won't have to walk it alone. Every step of the way, Jesus will walk beside you, even when you can't see Him, even when it's hard to feel anything at all. This isn't pressure. This is love. It's not about doing more or trying harder. It's about trusting the one who already did it all. You were not created to carry your burdens forever. You were created to be held. You were made to be loved. And that love is here, now, calling you by name. What if 7 minutes of sound could end years of financial struggle and replace it with freedom, prosperity, and peace? This ancient frequency, once locked away in secret government research, is now changing lives everywhere. Imagine bills erased, doors opening, and sudden windfalls flowing into your hands. But every delay is wealth lost forever. Click the link in the video description and comments below to switch on your money wave, and claim abundance today. Archangel Michael says, "The flame of God's love does not flicker with the winds of your emotions, nor does it dim when you feel far away. It is constant, unwavering, and brighter than the darkness that has tried to follow you." Today is not the same as yesterday, because something inside your heart is softening, gently opening, and letting in the voice that has been calling you home. The choice still stands before you, not as a burden, but as a blessing. Not to frighten, but to free. What heaven is offering you now is not just a better life, it's a new one, born from grace, wrapped in mercy, and rooted in Jesus Christ. You might feel like you've wasted too much time, or like too many wrong turns have been taken, and you don't know how to begin again. But the truth is, in God's eyes, there is no such thing as wasted time when it leads you back to Him. Every ache you've felt, every tear you've cried, every moment you've survived, they all matter. Nothing is lost when it is placed in God's hands. He uses everything, even the things that hurt, to bring you closer to the truth, that you are loved, not because of who you've become, but because of who He is. There is a beautiful thing that happens when a heart finally surrenders, not out of defeat, but out of relief. When you stop trying to fix yourself on your own, and you let God be the one to carry what you were never meant to carry. That's what Jesus came for. He didn't come to fix your life with quick solutions or temporary comfort. He came to rescue your soul, to give you eternal peace that holds you steady even when life feels like it's falling apart. He came to wipe the slate clean, not just once, but every single day if that's what it takes to keep you close. This is what it means to be redeemed. Not to be patched up, but to be made new. Not to be tolerated, but to be cherished. Not to be pitied, but to be claimed. Jesus didn't come to make you better, He came to bring you to life. And that life, the one your soul has always longed for, begins when you decide to stop running and start resting in the truth that you are already loved beyond reason. Archangel Michael reminds you that this is not a casual moment. This is sacred ground, and your heart is the altar. Heaven is watching, not with judgment, but with joy. Every time you turn your eyes toward God, every time you choose faith instead of fear, every time you whisper, "I want you, Jesus," a shift happens in the spiritual realm. Chains begin to loosen. Old pain begins to lift. Peace, the kind that doesn't make sense to the world, starts to fill in the cracks. And you begin to realize that what you've been searching for all along was never far. It was waiting in the arms of the Savior who never stopped loving you. Type 1616 if you surrender to God's will. You may still carry regrets. You may still hear echoes of shame. But they do not define you. The world tries to name you by your worst moments. But God calls you by your true name, His beloved. And when God speaks over your life, nothing can cancel that word. Not your past. Not your fear. Not even your own doubts. You belong to Him. And once you belong, there is nothing that can steal you from His grasp. This is the kind of love that changes everything. It doesn't just lift your spirit, it transforms your whole life. It teaches you how to forgive, not because people deserve it, but because you've been forgiven far more. It teaches you how to see others not as enemies or threats, but as fellow souls, each one deeply loved by God. It breaks the chains of bitterness, softens the hard edges of pride, and gives you a heart that longs for more of what is good, what is holy, what is true. Let yourself be held by this truth. You don't have to prove anything to God. You only have to come. Come in your weakness. Come in your doubt. Come with empty hands. He is not looking for performance. He is waiting for presence. Your presence. Your heart. Your yes. There is a stillness that falls when you finally believe that God's love is real, and it's for you. Not because of what you do, but because of who He is. And He is love. Always has been. Always will be. So take this moment, breathe it in, and let the walls fall. Let the old stories crumble. Let the fear lose its grip. God is here, Jesus is near, and you are not alone. The past is not your prison, and the future is not something to fear. One choice. That's all it takes. And heaven is ready to pour blessing into every space that once felt broken. Archangel Michael says, the journey you are walking may be filled with quiet struggles that no one sees, silent prayers whispered into the night, and hopes you've tucked away because the world taught you it's safer not to feel too much. But heaven sees what your heart carries, and God has never looked away. You are not unseen. You are not overlooked. And even now, in this very moment, His love is stretching out to you, not as a soft suggestion, but as a divine invitation to step out of the storm and into the shelter of His grace. So many souls wander through life believing that pain is all there is, that peace is something only a few get to taste, and that they must always be strong, even when they feel like breaking. But the truth that comes from God is different. It's not about pretending to be fine. It's about knowing where to run when you're not. Jesus never promised that life would be free from sorrow, but he promised to never let you carry it alone. He walks into every valley you go through. He stands in every fire with you. And he holds your hand through every question you don't know how to ask. This love, this kind, faithful, deeply personal love, is not earned by being perfect. It's given freely to those who dare to believe that maybe, just maybe, God really meant it when he said you are his. You don't have to climb a mountain to reach him. You just have to let go. Let go of the lies that said you're too damaged. Let go of the pressure to fix everything. Let go of the need to be in control. Because when your hands are open, your heart can finally receive. Type 2020 to claim joy and strength. You've been told by this world to fight for your worth, to prove your value, to stay guarded and never show weakness. But Jesus whispers something far different. He says, "Come to me." Not when you have it all figured out. Not when your heart feels strong. But now, right now, just as you are. He's not surprised by your sorrow. He's not disappointed in your doubt. He simply wants to walk with you, sit with you, hold you, and remind you that you were never created to be distant from love. The truth is simple: you were created for abundance, yet a dormant brain signal has been holding you back. Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it pulls wealth into your life like never before. Others who pressed play once are already transformed, living the life they dreamed of. Do not hesitate or let regret steal this chance. Click the link in the video description and comments below to unlock your prosperity now. Type Amen if you believe God is your strength, and share this powerful video with 7 faithful souls to receive blessings and miracles. Archangel Michael watches over you because your life is sacred, your soul is a battlefield, and your heart is where heaven longs to dwell. There is urgency, yes, not because of fear, but because time is precious and your healing is important to God. Every moment you wait, every time you hold yourself back from His love, is a moment you could be free. You were not born for spiritual survival. You were born for redemption, for purpose, for joy that endures even through tears. There is something incredibly holy about surrender. It is not weakness. It is strength that says, "I trust you more than I trust myself." It is the quiet bravery of laying down every burden at the feet of Jesus and saying, "I cannot carry this anymore, but I believe you can." And He will. He always does. Not because He has to, but because He wants to. Because love always makes room, always bends low, always lifts high the ones who think they've fallen too far. Let yourself rest here. Not just your body, but your soul. Rest in the truth that you don't have to keep trying to be enough. In God's eyes, you already are. You are His creation. His child. His joy. And the moment you come to Him, all of heaven celebrates, not because you became perfect, but because you came home. You may still feel broken. You may still carry pain. But that's not the end of your story. In fact, it's only the beginning. God specializes in turning ashes into beauty, sorrow into songs, and weakness into strength. What feels like the end to you is often where He begins His greatest work. You just have to let Him in. Not as a last resort, but as your first love. He is waiting, not with crossed arms, but with open ones. There is a future ahead of you that you can't yet see, but God already stands in it. He has prepared a path for you that leads to peace. A peace not made by circumstances, but by His Spirit living inside you. And all it takes to begin is one choice. One yes. One step away from fear and into faith. That's how miracles begin. That's how the lost are found. That's how your heart starts to heal. This is the moment you choose. Not out of pressure, but out of longing. Not because you're afraid, but because something in you knows there is more. More to life than what you've been given. More to faith than just surviving. More to God than distant stories from long ago. He is real. He is here. And He is reaching for you. Archangel Michael says, there is a sacred softness in the way God continues to pursue your heart, not with force, but with the gentlest mercy, reminding you that His love is not earned by effort, but received in surrender. This moment, this quiet space where your soul feels drawn in, is not an accident or a coincidence. It is heaven's way of knocking softly on the door of your heart, asking to be let in, not for judgment, but for healing. Not for control, but for comfort. You are not being asked to carry more, but to finally release what was never yours to hold alone. Type 111 if you believe miracles are near. Sometimes, the most exhausting weight we carry isn't the world around us, but the battle within. The voice that tells us we've gone too far, messed up too many times, or that we are just too broken for God to care. But none of those things are true. They never were. God's love is not a reward for the flawless. It's a rescue for the desperate. And no matter how far you feel from Him, He is never more than one heartbeat away. One whisper of His name and His presence floods in like light, filling the cracks in the dark. You may not even realize how much you've needed this, how deeply your soul has longed for rest that isn't just sleep, but peace that soaks into your bones. That peace doesn't come from escaping life. It comes from walking through it with Jesus by your side. He never promised a life free of sorrow, but He did promise His presence in the middle of it. And His presence is not a fragile thing. It holds firm when everything else falls apart. It remains when everyone else walks away. And it never, ever gives up. There is nothing you can say to Him that will make Him turn away. No part of your story is too painful or too messy for Him to enter. In fact, the parts you try hardest to hide are often the very places He wants to heal first. Not with shame, but with grace. Not with cold distance, but with arms that draw you in closer than you've ever been before. That's what Jesus does. He meets you in the middle of the wreckage and begins building something more beautiful than you imagined could come from the ashes. Archangel Michael speaks not to alarm you, but to gently awaken you, to remind you that the battle you are fighting is real, but you are not fighting it alone. There are forces around you that seek to drain your hope and steal your joy, but God's hand on your life is stronger than any darkness you've ever faced. His angels surround you, not as shadows, but as light-bearers, protecting the promises spoken over your life since before you were born. Every tear you've cried has been seen. Every prayer you didn't have words for has been heard. And every moment you thought you were forgotten was actually a moment God was holding you, even if you didn't feel it at the time. He hasn't been distant. He's been waiting. Waiting for your heart to stop running, waiting for the moment you'd allow His love to find its way in again. And here you are now. There is courage in choosing to believe again. Courage in saying, I need you. Courage in laying down the walls and letting your soul be seen. You don't need perfect faith. You only need a mustard seed, a small spark of belief that Jesus is who He says He is, and that He really does want you, just as you are. He is not waiting for you to be fearless. He is simply waiting for you to be open. Because that's where love flows in. That's where healing begins. That's where everything changes. Let this part of your story be where things begin to turn. Not through force or effort, but through release. Let it be the place where you stop trying to earn love and start receiving it. Let it be where you trade anxiety for peace, regret for redemption, and loneliness for belonging. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where God knew you would be, and He is ready to walk with you from here, into something new. Type Amen to trust God's plan for your life. There is something powerful about choosing hope again, especially after pain. Something holy about trusting love again, even after betrayal. And there is something incredibly brave about giving your heart back to God, even when it still feels tender. But that's all He's ever wanted. Your heart. Not your performance. Not your achievements. Just you. Whole or broken. Healed or hurting. You are enough, and you always have been. Archangel Michael says, your soul is not empty, it is waiting. Waiting for the moment when the love it was created for is no longer kept at a distance. And in this very moment, God is leaning near, not to judge you, not to remind you of where you've been, but to call you by your true name. The world may label you by your pain, your past, or your weakness, but heaven knows you only by love. You are beloved. You are chosen. And you are being called back to the truth that has never changed. God still wants your heart, no matter what condition it's in. Every second you wait, wealth meant for you slips into someone else's hands. A hidden brain wave, once buried in CIA files, has been proven to awaken unstoppable prosperity. In just 7 minutes, you can unlock the switch inside your mind that draws abundance like a magnet. This is more than an opportunity, it is destiny knocking. Click the link in the video description and comments below to activate your hidden wealth wave right now. There is something sacred about the way God pursues us. He doesn't shout. He doesn't force. He simply waits with open arms, always ready, always near, never walking away when we feel too broken to be worthy of love. Jesus doesn't come to us in moments of strength alone. He comes into the middle of our mess, our confusion, our sin, our pain, and He stays. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't hesitate. He stays because He is not here to fix the surface. He is here to transform the heart. You may have heard 1,000 voices telling you that you need to be more, do more, prove more. But God says something completely different. He says, "Come to me." Not with accomplishments. Not with answers. Just come. The door to His presence is not locked. It never was. What keeps us away is often our fear, our shame, or our pride. But none of those things have the power to keep Him from loving you. His love doesn't wait for permission. It moves through every wall and into the deepest parts of who you are. You are not too far. Not too complicated. Not too late. What the enemy meant for harm, God is ready to turn into healing. And Archangel Michael stands as a warrior over your soul, not to pressure you into fear, but to protect the holy choice you are being invited to make, to say yes to the one who already said yes to you when He gave His life on the cross. This journey with Jesus is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming real. Letting your heart be honest. Letting your pain speak. Letting your tears fall in a place where they are seen and collected, not ignored. Every tear you've cried has landed in God's hands. Every burden you've carried has been known by Him. Every moment you felt unseen, He was closer than your breath. The world is loud. It rushes you, shames you, compares you. But God is slow, steady, and kind. He will not rush your healing. He will not push you into a mold. He simply wants your heart to come home. And home is not a place, it's a person. That person is Jesus. In His presence, fear has no hold. In His love, shame has no voice. In His arms, you are not just safe, you are whole, even if you're still healing. There's a reason you've been led to these words. It's not just comfort. It's a holy invitation. A gentle but urgent voice reminding you that now is the time to return. The road has always led back to Him. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to be strong. You only have to be willing. Willing to trust. Willing to believe again. Willing to lay down the walls you built to protect yourself, and let His grace become your shelter instead. Type 3030 if you believe Jesus lives in your heart. This is the place where healing begins, not in noise, but in stillness. Not in answers, but in surrender. You may feel weak, but that is exactly where His strength is made perfect. You may feel unworthy, but that's where His mercy shines brightest. You may feel afraid, but His love casts out all fear. This is not just another message. This is heaven's hand reaching for yours. So take the step. Let go of the guilt. Release the weight. Turn your eyes back to the one who never stopped watching over you. Archangel Michael is not speaking out of obligation. He is speaking because eternity is moving close, and this is your moment to respond. One choice can shift everything. One decision to trust Jesus can take the broken pieces of your life and turn them into a testimony of grace. You were never meant to carry the pain alone. You were never expected to be strong enough without Him. You were always meant to be held, to be loved, to be found. And now, more than ever, heaven is calling you to believe, not just in God, but in how deeply personal His love is for you. This isn't about rules. This is about relationship. This is about healing the wound inside that no one else has seen, but Jesus already knows. Archangel Michael says, "In the quiet place where your heart aches and your soul wonders if healing will ever come, God is already there, gently waiting, never rushing you, never leaving you, always loving you without hesitation or condition." He sees every place inside you that feels weary from the journey, and instead of turning away, He moves closer, as close as breath, as close as your next heartbeat. You do not need to force your way back to Him, you only need to stop and be still, and you will realize that He was never far from you at all. There is something deeply holy about the way Jesus meets us in our brokenness. He doesn't stand at a distance waiting for us to fix ourselves. He steps into the pain, the mess, the questions, and the confusion, and He sits with us there. He wraps His love around the wounds we try to hide and speaks peace into the places where we feel most unworthy. He doesn't bring a list of expectations. He brings a heart full of mercy and arms that never get tired of holding you up. The world often tells us that we must be strong, flawless, and unshaken. But God doesn't require that from you. In fact, He wants the opposite. He wants your honesty, your rawness, your tears, and your silence. He wants the truth of who you are, not the version you try to present to others. Because only the real you can be truly healed. Only the open heart can be truly filled. And only a surrendered soul can truly receive peace that passes understanding. Archangel Michael's voice carries the weight of urgency, not because time is running out in fear, but because the gift being offered is far too precious to delay. God is offering you more than relief, He's offering redemption. Not just escape from pain, but transformation through it. Not just survival, but purpose. And He isn't asking for strength you don't have. He is simply asking for a yes, for a heart willing to open again, even after everything. Every day you wait, the world keeps speaking louder, trying to convince you that you're alone, that nothing can change, that hope is too far gone. But heaven speaks something different. It says that Jesus is near, that your story is not finished, and that love has never stopped fighting for you. You are not stuck where you are because of weakness. You are standing at the edge of a miracle, one that begins with surrender. Type "I believe" if you believe miracles are on the way. This is not about knowing what comes next. It's about trusting the one who does. Jesus knows the road ahead. He knows the burdens that have been weighing you down, the regrets you carry like silent shadows, the longings you don't even have words for. And He is not overwhelmed by any of it. He sees it all, and still He stays. Still He loves. Still He calls you by your name, not as the world sees you, but as He does, beloved, worthy, chosen, and new. You don't have to make yourself ready. You don't have to have the answers. You just have to be willing to take one step closer to the one who already came all the way for you. Jesus doesn't meet you at the finish line. He meets you on the path, even when you feel like you're crawling. He meets you in your confusion, your doubt, your shame, and your fear, and He whispers, "I'm not going anywhere." Let the world fall silent for just a moment. Let the noise fade, and listen to what heaven is speaking over you. It's not condemnation. It's not disappointment. It's love, pure, eternal, unshakable love that refuses to let you go. And this love is not earned. It is received. That's why it is so precious. That's why it's worth everything. Let today be the day your soul begins to believe again. Not because everything is fixed, but because you know who is with you. Let it be the day you stop measuring your worth by the world's standards and start resting in the truth that you are already deeply known and fully loved by God. You don't need to chase perfection. You only need to return to your first love, Jesus Christ. And know this, no matter how quiet your prayers have been, no matter how long it has felt since you've truly felt His presence, Jesus has never let go. He has never forgotten you. He has never stopped calling your name. He is still here. He is still enough. And He is still yours, if you'll have Him. Archangel Michael says, in the stillness where your spirit quietly waits, where words fall short and emotions rise without warning, the gentle presence of God is not only near, it surrounds you. Like the hush of early morning light touching the earth before the world wakes, His love is steady, silent, and powerful. Even when you don't feel it, even when you're unsure of what to believe, it never fades. It holds. It stays. And it waits for you to simply stop striving and allow yourself to be found. There are wounds so deep, we forget where they began. They shape the way we see ourselves, the way we trust, the way we draw close or pull away. But those places, the ones you've tried to forget, are the ones Jesus wants to heal. Not in a rush, not through force, but through love so patient, it sits with you in the ache and breathes life into places you thought would never feel again. That is the miracle of Christ, not that He only shows up in triumph, but that He walks into pain and transforms it from the inside out. The world may have taught you to stay guarded, to protect your heart from being hurt again, to keep your distance so you don't fall apart. But Jesus didn't come to break you. He came to gently put you back together. He doesn't ask for a strong front. He only asks for an open heart. You don't have to understand everything. You don't even need to feel ready. You only need to allow Him in, and that begins with the smallest whisper, the softest yes. Type 222 if you trust that God is with you always. Archangel Michael speaks now because something holy is unfolding. Not in flashes of lightning or grand declarations, but in the unseen turning of your heart toward the One who created it. You were never made to carry shame. You were never meant to wear guilt like armor. There is freedom that comes, not by fighting harder, but by falling into grace. And grace is not a vague idea, it is the very presence of Jesus meeting you in your most fragile places and choosing you anyway. He doesn't demand strength. He simply offers His own. He doesn't ask for perfection. He offers peace. And He doesn't hold your past against you. He holds your future in His hands, gently, fully, and with deep care. You don't have to look far to find Him. You only need to be still. When your thoughts race, when your chest feels tight, when hope feels like a stranger, breathe. In that breath, say His name. And you will find Him closer than you ever believed. He does not hide. He does not leave. And no matter what you've been through, He has not changed His mind about you.